Kevin? I did, yeah. Thanks. Oh, great, thanks. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Supervisor Moore.
Present.
Councilwoman McNamara. Present. Councilman Isili.
Present.
Councilman Pell.
Present.
Councilman Skiba.
Present.
Thank you. Well, before we get started with our agenda tonight, I'd like to move to take a resolution out of order, resolution number 2024-1407, to appoint Police Officer Maxwell Yardley to the Academy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, because it's a special occasion tonight. So let's see, I'll just read the resolution. Resolution to appoint Police Officer Maxwell Yardley to the Academy.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And Chief, would you like to introduce the, yes, and, oh, okay, I'm sorry. And I'd also like to take the other resolution 2024-1406 out of order.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so and that resolution is to appoint Police Officer Connor Spencer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. This is a special day for us when we get to increase our ranks. Before we start with the swearing in, I'd like to just address the town board. Supervisor Moore, Councilman Schiavone, Councilwoman McNamara, Councilman Pell, and Councilmember Iacilli. Please accept my heartfelt gratitude for your steadfast support of our police department. Your commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of our community doesn't go unnoticed. Today's vote to bring on these two officers and your commitment to providing the best equipment available is a testament to your dedication to providing our officers with the tools and resources they need to serve effectively. Your efforts not only strengthen our police department, but also reinforce the trust and partnership between law enforcement and the community. On behalf of the entire Southampton Town Police Department, I sincerely thank you for your unwavering leadership and support. So thank you very much, Town Board.
Thank you, Chief.
So these are our new people. This is Connor Spencer in uniform here, and this is Maxwell Yardley. Just to tell you a little bit, these in a time where police departments are scraping and recruiting and trying to grab people, these two gentlemen were fiercely recruited by every police department in this county, including Suffolk County, and they had a choice, and they chose us. In Connor's situation, he's been a TCO for us. He's been a part-time police officer for us, where he's worked special events in the village of Sagaponack. And in that respect, sometimes it's a double-edged sword, because if you don't do well as a part-timer, you're not going to be looked at for full-time. Connor did so well and exceeded our expectations. We're very lucky to bring him on full-time. In Maxwell's case, Maxwell grew up in Sag Harbor, and his answer to me when I asked why Southampton Town, he said the department's professional reputation, and I want to help the people that I grew up with and my community. So we're thrilled to have these fine young men with us today, swearing in. Several months ago, recruits. I asked Suffolk County Police Applicant Investigations Division to conduct entry-level testing, including physical agility, medical, psychological, a very, very intrusive background investigation on 90 individuals. Of those 90, 10 people survived that process. You two are at the top of that 10, and we're very proud of you. So congratulations to you. You give them a hand. So families, I've known Christine and Todd Spencer for 27 years. That's Connor's mom and dad. Well, Christine was a police officer, and she worked for the state attorney's office as an investigator. And Lieutenant Spencer has served our community for the last 27 years. In fact, on my way here, I hear him on the radio chasing somebody with a box cutter in where was it? Watermill? So I mean, this is what we're getting. This is what we're getting here. So, but to Christine and Todd and Maxwell's family, Esther, Mimi, of course, Maureen, your loved one, your son, your grandson, they chose a dangerous profession. It is a dangerous profession. But they chose to serve people. They chose to help other people. And there's nothing more honorable than that. I can tell you, I hope this gives you some assurance, but I give you my word that I will work with the town board tirelessly and provide them with all the training that we could possibly give them, all the support we can give them, and bring them home to you after each and every tour of duty, after every work day. We're going to do our best. I won't sleep at night unless they have the best, and we work with the town board to provide that for your loved one. So thank you for sharing. Christine, especially thank you for sharing your husband with us and your son now with this community. The oath, gentlemen, that you're about to take brings you into the full-time rank of our police department. You're joining the best officers on the planet, as far as I'm concerned. During your probationary period, learn from them. They'll teach you and look out for you as you develop. You will be expected to conduct yourselves with exceptional moral value and professional behavior. The bar is set high in our profession and demands trustworthy, competent, and reliable individuals. When it comes a time where this job may wear you down, you're very excited. I want you to remember today. I want you to remember the words that you said in those interviews when we talked. Remember that it's a privilege to serve. Remember that you're getting the opportunity to do everything you ever wanted, and you're getting that opportunity in one of the most beautiful places on the planet, and for a fantastic community. So keep that in mind as you go along in your careers. At this time, I'd like to ask the clerk to swear in our new police officers. You guys can come over here.
Both raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and Southampton Town Code, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of Southampton Town Police Officer.
According to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Sit super
Want me to slide down there?
Yeah. One on either side of the supervisor.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Oh, we're
Thank
so
you.
happy to
Thank you.
have
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Stand in, come on this side.
All right, all right.
He needs protection.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you.
Chief, you have some paperwork here. Yes.
No time like the present.
No time. Somebody's going to academy, we can't hold them up.
I know.
So,
What a
you want me
sweet
to
thing.
sign and give this to you, or you want me to sign?
So young. Oh, yes, Gail.
Thank you.
Okay.
First public hearing, there's no presentation, just ask if anybody has any questions, it's like the budget.
That was
The
wonderful.
fire protection?
Yeah, fire.
Sure was. Pretty soon we do 4 more next year.
Yeah.
We'll send you a picture.
I think that's,
All right, is everybody ready
that
to
brings us to our number.
get going?
Yes,
Let's
that's-
move on. I move to approve the minutes of the town board meeting held on November 12th, 2024.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Madam Clerk, would you please read the communications?
The following communications have been received in the office of the town clerk. We have received public notices from the New York State Association of Towns, their 2025 annual meeting and training school, February 16th through 19th, 2025. Town of East Hampton public hearing notices. Town of Southold public hearing notice. Village of West Hampton Beach Zoning Board of Appeals application for a location on Dune Road in West Hampton Beach. Town fire districts for the 2025 adopted budget filings for East Quogue, West Hampton Beach, and West Hampton Beach. The annual statement of financial disclosure was filed by the listed individual, and emails and letters have been received regarding the following. Coast Guard Housing, West Hampton, Best Moratorium Exemption Application of 9 Energy LLC Flanders, Eastport Trailer Park, Project LIPA's Bridgehampton to Buell Underground Transmission Cable, proposed amortization of non-conforming sand mines, proposed purchase of 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, Shinnecock Nation Endeavors, Westwoods, Hampton Bays. The following bid and request for proposals were received on November 20th. A bid for electronic waste removal, recycling, and disposal program, and November 21st, RFQ for CPF Stewardship Consultant Management Services. The following reports were filed from the receiver of taxes for the Hampton Bays water arrears, 2024-2025 tax roll, Riverside water arrears, 2024-2025 tax roll, Suffolk County Water Authority arrears for the same time period, and unpaid alarms for the 2024-2025 tax rolls, and that concludes the communications for this meeting's agenda.
Thank you, Wendy. I do have some walk-ons, and one is a substitution for the procurement policy that's set forth on page 7, and this is so it's Town Board Resolution ID number 48233, substituting for Town Board Resolution 2024-1365. I need a motion to,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
And then there are 3 walk-ons, and I've been asked to read them individually. The first is to recall and amend, Town Board Resolution ID number 48212, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 2023-395 and 2024-889, to award and authorize the supervisor to sign a contract for requirements contract for security camera network infrastructure maintenance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The second walk-on is Town Board Resolution ID number 48216, notice of public hearing for local law amending Chapter 264 entitled Public Assembly Licensing of, in order to reflect current practices of the town, to clarify language, and to enhance enforcement ability by adding a suspension provision.
Second.
Right now, we're just adding them onto the agenda, not
Yeah.
voting on them individually.
She wants
Right.
to vote on
You want to vote on them now?
No, I'm just saying, I
Just
was
to
asked
walk
to
them
read them
on.
separately, just as to be voted to
No, of course,
walk
yes, but there's
on.
one vote normally to
Oh.
just add them onto the agenda.
I
for
know.
later on, yes.
I mean, unless everybody's fine with,
I'm not fine with 48216 because it has not gone to a work session. You might want to tweak it. I know nothing about this. Last time she brought something up like this, we asked to bring it to a work session so we can all talk about it. I don't think it's fair for her just to spring something up on us. I don't want her to say that it's 4-1, something like that, put it on Facebook, have my spouse write things that we're picking on. It's not just, it's the same thing for all of us. We have to know what we're voting on and what we're supporting. And we has to go to a work session beforehand.
So
So I'm not gonna support.
this was something that Sean did send to us in an email.
just to clarify, she and her is me, Councilwoman Cindy McNamara.
Yeah.
I brought this forward at the request of Public Safety and our Town Attorney Department to clarify what is already existing process in the town to make sure that our code coincides with the actual practice that is partaking in the town. If you would like a work session on this and you don't want the current code to reflect what's currently, this was sent around to the entire board. It was asked if anybody wanted to bring this forward. I feel that our code should reflect current practices. Therefore, I said I would sponsor a public hearing. Again, this is a public hearing. This is not a resolution. This is simply a notice of public hearing.
Do you have any issue with a work session?
Nope,
Okay.
Okay,
delay
Do
it.
that.
thank you.
I would just have appreciated that since this went to the entire town board. If anybody wanted a work session, they all were available to have a conversation with Town Attorney Sean Cambridge and put out to him that they would like to have a work session on this. Nobody responded to that email that I saw requesting a work session, therefore I
No.
didn't think there was this level of
And Sean,
issue with it, so it's fine.
You know, there
It
is a
can go
work
to a work
session on
session.
the December 5th, we could do it
Sure.
on, before, you know.
No,
The public hearing.
I will withdraw it, and then we will follow what Mr. Pell would like to do, and we will have a work session. So fine.
and Sean should know better from past experiences.
This is a town attorney. You don't scold the town.
This happened before.
You don't need to scold people in
I'm not
public
scolding
session.
We'll, we'll have
It's
this,
really
we'll
weird.
have the work session. Sean can come and talk us through the changes, and Ryan could be here too if he wants to,
Simple.
you know, just to comport with the current practices,
Okay.
but there might be, I understand what you're saying, there could be things here that we're not aware of, so it doesn't hurt to have the work session.
This is granting more power to public safety to suspend.
Sean, would you like to just
we're
clarify what this is?
We're gonna have a work session.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah,
All right, we'll just have a work session.
we don't want to do
It's
We're gonna
being
have a
put
work
forward as
session. I
something
mean-
that it's not, and
Okay.
valid. Thank you.
Yeah, and just for the record, it's not,
I mean, actually, in your suggestion, in your email, you said we could have a work session, or we could, you know, just,
Yeah.
so, but you're fine with that
Thank
too,
you.
right?
Thanks, Sean.
If you're going to speak, please go to the
Oh,
podium.
yeah.
this is just, for the record, it's also, we're just trying to be in compliance with New York State General Municipal Law, and it's the procurement policy for the town. It's not formal.
we're not on the procurement policy.
This is about public assembly
We're public assembly.
permits.
Oh, I'm
Right,
sorry.
this is the draft to update our town code to reflect our practices for about 10 to 15 years. It was brought forward at Councilwoman McNamara's request. As you all know, you each have the ability to bring legislation forward. When I'm told to schedule something, I must. that's.
All right, thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
It was something you worked on with Ryan, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. Okay, well, then we will, we're not comfortable putting it on for the,
I will withdraw the notice of public hearing.
so we'll have the work session, then put it on for the public hearing. Okay, and the third walk-on is Town Board Resolution ID number 48246 for the warrant number 22.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
So, just for the record, we didn't have a work session on this procurement policy either, and I was able to read it and verify my concerns, but it's part of doing your job as a legislator.
I'm sorry, would you repeat that?
No, I'm good. Let's move on.
All right, Madam
Okay.
Clerk, would you please read the notice for the first public hearing?
Certainly. Public hearing number 1 for the 2025 fire protection contracts.
Okay, no one's here to present this?
No, it's just, this resolution is just to take public input of any kind. This is for just
Well,
The town of Southampton has 3 fire protection districts, Noyak, Bay Point, and Northeast Quogue, and this is a public hearing on the budgets that were given to us by the Village of Sag Harbor, as well as the Village of Quogue, and we've seen in the previous documents. And thank you to the Village of Sag Harbor, they were slightly less this year.
okay, well, I don't have any cards for anyone to speak on this matter. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom? Okay, all right, then I move to close the first public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the second public hearing?
Public hearing number 2 to amend Town Code Chapter 90 entitled Smoking Prohibited in Designated Non-Smoking Areas to include additional non-smoking areas being within 30 feet in any direction and within public transportation vestibules and/or shelters, including those designated for pickup, drop-off areas at facilities that are open to the public.
Good evening again, Supervisor Moore and members of the town board. This was brought forward at the request of our police department. This section of law was drafted with the previous administration, coming up to the legalization of marijuana. Its intent is to add places where it's not acceptable to smoke. The police department has observed plenty of people smoking in bus shelters, train shelters, so on and so forth, and are looking to protect public health and welfare for commuters that otherwise have no other way to avoid secondhand smoke.
Yeah, I know some of the at a Franca meeting, this came up, that it's a problem.
Yes.
So it's pretty straightforward.
Absolutely.
I mean, my only comment was that in the body of the legislation, it talks about cigars, cigarettes, and marijuana, but in the throughout the legislation, but in the legislative intent, it doesn't mention marijuana. So I was suggesting when this came up at the review that we just add marijuana in the second line of the
That certainly can be done.
legislative intent.
Does this include vaping?
Yes,
Yes,
all smoking devices.
right, still.
Yeah, it does. It says it
getting
in
on
here, vape. It's included already.
Okay.
Well, all right, well, just stick
thank you.
around. There is a, I have a card from, oh, Angela, you know.
Good evening, Supervisor Moore and the town board. My name is Angela Unwalt. I'm the president of Flanders Riverside Northampton Community Association, also known as Franca. And on behalf of the community, we ask that this does move forward. We absolutely would like no smoking in those bus shelters of all sorts. So if we can include that, include marijuana. So we thank you and look forward to seeing signs go up.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for making us aware of this.
Yes, yes. Okay, Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom?
No.
So does anybody have any other comments?
Sean, Counselor, this does include marijuana, right?
Yes, it
Cannabis? Yeah, just the fact that it's smoking anything.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Right, but I think that it doesn't, it's odd that it's not in the legislative intent when it's elsewhere throughout the legislation. So I thought it's appropriate just to add that. That's not gonna make an
Do we need
issue.
to change anything with that? Does the
I don't
public
think that's
hearing
an
work
issue
if
to
we?
add a word.
Okay,
We
we
can
can
do
do
that,
that.
it's noticed
Sure.
pretty broadly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We can certainly do that.
I'm in favor of that.
Okay, so, all right then. Well, then if there's no other comments.
I would just say that there was no work session on this, but I support it because
This was discussed at the last work session.
no.
Yes, there was.
At,
Yes, it was.
at the agenda review.
Yes, and it was
yeah.
discussed.
As with the resolution that I put forward, would have been discussed at the agenda review if anybody had questions. But I support this. I think it's great, and let's vote.
Nobody did anything wrong with that other, the walk-on. I mean, Sean suggested it after working with Ryan Murphy, and Cindy offered to, sponsor it. But then others on the board had some concerns about what exactly did it say. Let's have some time to just talk it through. So, there's no accusations of any wrong
It's amazing that
here.
only one person gets things denied.
I don't, Councilwoman, I don't think that's true.
That is
No.
true.
I think that we're talking about.
Routinely, I can't even get a second to put a public hearing notice on it.
Well,
so.
you voted against public hearings at the last meeting for the
One.
budget. 2.
One.
Not going to argue, but it was 2. Okay, so then I moved to, I don't know, did I do this already? Moved to,
Well, we have to actually go to the next. I think we have to move to either close, right?
I want to close the public hearing.
Anyone
Second.
online?
No, there's no one. All in favor?
Aye.
Who's the second?
Myself.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the,
Public hearing
Notice.
number 3 to amend zoning chapter 330-346 non-residential lighting standards to update the correlated color temperature standard to align with new lighting technology.
Hello.
Thank you for being here, Janice.
sure you are.
Thanks for having me. I'm Janice Scherer, Town Planning and Development Administrator. This is a piece of legislation sponsored by Councilman Iacelli and Councilman Pell. And it's really to just help bring along the code to what's happening in real life. Right now, the code is capped at 3,000 Kelvin, which is it was the cutting edge of technology at the time the lighting code was put into place. For those who don't know what Kelvin is, it's a measure of color temperature. So the higher the Kelvin, the bluer the light. So and blue light has its health impacts, and also being able to see certain things in a very blue light is sometimes hard. So we capped it at 3,000 Kelvin so that the light wasn't as blue.
And that was the standard, right, at the time.
That was the standard at the time, and now we're just lowering the standard to 2,700 because lighting technology has really come a long way, and it can even go as low as 1,800 Kelvin, which is a much more yellow light, but better for you and more consistent with, like environmental concerns. So sometimes it would be lower or higher, but we're just moving that cap down from 3,000 to 2,700.
So theoretically, the lumens wouldn't change, but the Kelvin would.
Right.
More
It's
yellow.
it's not the well, the brightness is affected by the Kelvin to some extent. Like the bluer the light, it's also like you might sometimes you see those headlights that are super blue that you may cause a reaction. But yeah, it's the same amount of light.
And the higher the Kelvin also, it impacts wildlife, nocturnal wildlife in particular, and the lower the Kelvin is more appropriate for the natural life cycles of nocturnal wildlife.
Right, right. And so the Dark Skies Committee noting that now, the industry has caught up and surpassed our code. So people can choose. So the code leaves it open. You could go lower if you want to. Or if the planning board finds that you're in a very sensitive area, they could ask for advice from an outside, agency like a Dark Skies International or some kind of IES.
What lights does this apply to?
Commercial lighting.
Only commercial, so
Yes.
somebody could still put the
more blue light at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. I mean, we do recommend looking at it. And even if you buy just a bulb at home, you can see it has a little Kelvin rating on there. So we recommend taking a look at that for folks listening. It's really a good thing to have. The more yellow light is better for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to add too, Janice joined in on a couple of meetings with the Dark Skies Committee that we have here with the town, and the committee was, is looking at doing things that are much larger scope. But this was a good step first step to getting, the standards more in line with what the IDA is
And we
suggesting.
also talked about it in work session.
Did they consider doing it across the board for residential
They would
exterior lighting
like to,
also?
but as Janice mentioned, there's, there are recommendations that are made, but this is a good step first to getting this, all of it going comprehensively.
Right. So for like a residential, no one's coming up to your light bulb and checking it at your porch. You know what I mean? So hopefully people hear this, understand that it's a good thing, and choose the right thing. What we are looking at on the Architectural Review Board in residential applications is that the lighting is like recessed into a soffit or shielded or something along those lines. But commercial, you're dealing with, some kind of use that we're now looking at those lighting fixtures, and we require at the planning board level manufacturer specifications, and those specifications have the Kelvin rating, 3,000, 2,700. It goes down from there. So
And this is only going forward,
yes,
so it's not being, like, say, amortized. You get 2 years to replace your lighting or something. This is just from today on. So then the next time they replace it, it has to be.
correct, because the fixtures are expensive and they do last a while. So we're not asking people to go out and take those down. Let's say if you put up 3,000 and that was approved, that's fine.
But projects that go before the planning board,
they'll have to show us specifications to 2,700 or lower.
right?
Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Janice.
Thank you,
I
Janice.
just also want to say thank you to the Dark Skies Committee. They worked very hard on this with Janice and with our team here. So really appreciate your collaboration with them.
All right, well, I don't have any cards on this one. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who wishes to be heard? Okay. Well, if no one else has any other comments, I move to close this third public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the fourth public hearing?
Public hearing number 4, to consider adoption of the annual CPF pilot payment plan 2024-25 tax year.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, Town Council members, Jackie Fenlon here, Director of Community Preservation. So I just want to refresh the board's memory. We are here today to adopt, hold a hearing and hopefully adopt the CPF pilot payment plan. We did work with a working committee last year to come up with these standards, which was due to a local law amendment and state legislation for extraordinary financial hardship. So what the town has found is that per $1,000 of assessed value, that certain districts, which would be school districts, are at the $5 per 1,000 would warrant an extraordinary hardship, as well as fire and emergency districts, which would be at 50 cents per $1,000 as an extraordinary hardship. So that policy was enacted last year. This policy is subject to change from year to year, but we do have it on for adoption this evening. But I just want to let you know this is based upon the 2024 and 2025 tax year for school and emergency districts. So we have looked at this, and basically that working group last year really set these standards. But there is an exception too for school districts excluding school districts possessing a total assessed valuation of $5 billion or more. So there is a cap on certain school districts that have that value.
But the ones that qualify, this makes them whole for the properties that we've preserved and taken off the tax rolls?
So these are properties that are fully exempt. So these include all public properties, federal, state, county, town. So anything that is tax exempt, this would make the school districts whole.
And are the
for these
funds
properties.
provided to the school districts?
They are, yes. Yep, so the funding will be in a separate resolution. We'll have a public hearing on that in the spring.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Well, I don't have any cards on this public hearing either. Kevin, is there anyone online that wishes to speak? Did he say no?
No one on Zoom.
Okay. Well, if nobody else has any
Oh, sure. This
remarks,
is allowed by New York State Town Law 64E, and it should be noted that Southampton Town is the only town in the Peconic Bay region that actually does this.
Yes, and I want to reiterate,
Good job
this is
to the town board.
Yeah. Kudos to Southampton Town. I think East Hampton is exploring this, but we are right now the only town that actually participates in this program. But also it is voluntary. This is not, this is up to the discretion of the town board. So, obviously funding has been very secure with CPF in recent years, but it won't always be that way. So, this policy might need to be amended from time to time, which is why we adopted the local law with the extraordinary hardship finding. But each fall we'll be looking and assessing this to see what our policy will be.
Yeah. Well, as a town, we're very fortunate to have the amount of CPF funding that we have, so it's appropriate to give back as long as we can.
Yes. Absolutely.
Got to support the schools and the fire department.
Absolutely. All right, well, then thank you, Jackie, and I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 5th public hearing?
Public hearing number 5, to consider the acquisition of a conservation easement and restrictive use easement for the properties located at 210 Clay Pit Road landlocked, 1215 and 1355 Bridgehampton Sag Harbor Turnpike, and CPF management stewardship plan to include the property.
Sound like a champagne cork.
Good evening again, Jackie Fenlon, CPF Director. So this is a property that has already been restricted by a conservation easement that restricts agriculture. This property is located and was known, as the Skellinger Hunting Preserve. This is now currently owned by Wainscott Properties Incorporated. So this is approximately 103.3 acres. So it is the first aerial that I will point to my right.
Commonly known as Spring Farm.
Yes, also commonly known as Spring Farm. So this public hearing is to consider further restrictions on the property. This was previously encumbered by a grant of conservation easement in 2001 and also in 2002 that compiled preservation of this entire preserve. So what this is considering is further restrictions to restrict the use to a fowl hunting preserve. This eliminates the ability for additional agricultural uses such as row crops, equestrian. What we are really trying to do is keep the property as is. The community understands that this was a hunting preserve. This will now continue to be a hunting preserve. We have negotiated with the property owners, but due to the sensitive nature of the freshwater wetlands and existing habitat, flora and fauna, we're looking to really try to keep the existing configuration and clearing and disturbance as is. So this would lock that in so that this would retain the character that it has now, but it would also retain the use, but would not be able to have the additional farming that is allowed.
Jackie, to your knowledge, how long has it been a property that hunting has gone on there? Do you know?
Actually, I don't know the answer to that question, but it has been quite, I think two
Long time.
generations.
Yeah. Oh,
Two generations. Yeah.
Easily into the 1960s. I don't know.
And my next question is, do you foresee any conflicts there, it being CPF, and hunting, or no?
No, it's already been operating with a grant of conservation easement that has restricted it to agriculture. So that was proceeding, and they obviously raise fowl, they raise, feed basically here as well. So all of that will essentially remain. But we are looking to restrict it further because of the sensitivity. So this is a situation where we would like to keep it as is. The community is aware that it's here, but because this is sensitive freshwater wetlands right across the street from the Long Pond Greenbelt, we really want to keep as much, basically reduce the amount of clearing and impacts to the environment as much as possible, but allow the previous use and the future use to remain, just with a different entity.
This is, this had an agricultural easement on it, and it was covered under Ag and Markets Law, and what this would propose is an enhanced agricultural easement.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
The
additional
type of
use
enhanced.
restrictions, yeah. Yeah, so
And
we use
how
enhanced a
much-
lot. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And how much is this additional?
So this would be for $1 million to restrict this even further in perpetuity.
I just want to thank you and Dan for the work you did on the easement language and making sure that everything was kind of tightened up and.
Yeah, I want to commend Dan McCormick, also our CPF Assistant Town Attorney, because he worked diligently on this, and then, we reviewed it, and we want to make sure that the wording is clear, because this activity is permitted to continue, but, additional disturbance is essentially not permitted by this easement.
And with this 103 acres, we purchased an easement, now we're going to purchase more easement. Will the public have any access to this 103.3 acres?
There was negotiations about a possible trail connection, which the owners were open to. That hasn't been defined by this now, but this is next to our Mulva Hill Preserve, which does have significant trail network. So there is a possibility that we can negotiate that further. I don't think, Dan, I know you had, sorry to bring you on the spot, but I know you had conversations with their attorney, and they were not opposed to that. But they also, wanted to make sure it just functioned well. Obviously, it's a hunting preserve, and it's a sensitive thing to allow the public to have possible trail
It's probably
access.
not a great idea to have the public go on a hunting preserve due to the nature of the activity there.
Yes.
I know, but we're spending a lot of money on this, and we're going to keep it, I suppose, the way it is. This particular property, right? We had the right of first refusal on it.
We did.
We did,
yes.
and we opted not to exercise that right.
That was evaluated last year, and unfortunately, our appraisals came in under the contract or sale price.
Right, and we only got one appraisal, and okay.
It was quite.
I wish we had bought it.
It was a limited time.
It was quite a
I understand.
narrow. Yeah, it was
I
quite
was
a
there.
narrow window. We did rush the appraisal, and unfortunately, the appraisal that came in, it came in under, so we were not able to compete with the right of first refusal or the existing sale.
Well, this is the next best thing.
Yeah.
Is this on for today to adopt, or?
It is not. No, this is just for a public hearing
Okay.
tonight. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, well, thank you, Jackie, and I don't have
You're welcome.
any cards on this one. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to speak at this public hearing? Okay.
I'd like to say at the end, the next time that we have 103.3 acres, we have the opportunity to purchase it, we should probably try harder. Okay, enough said.
Thank you.
You were waiting for the appraisal to come in, right?
Kind
You
of
couldn't do it
take
without the appraisal?
offense to that, because it sounds like we didn't do our due
Yes.
diligence, and we very much
It was
did.
just a very quick window, and unfortunately, we're bound by our appraisals, and we couldn't quite compete.
Yeah.
And the town elected not to make an offer, but I think they made that with the knowledge that they couldn't couldn't meet that
Mhm.
existing
Mhm.
contract of sale, and sales price.
Thank you for the
I recall
explanation.
there's some management issues as well, right? I mean, there was some concern about, well, does the town want to manage this, or the property owners managing, continuing to
You could have managed.
managing their own
Hunting
property.
Preserve.
So there was something about that.
I'm talking about, fee and title, purchasing that, but again,
Did I
I'll
close
leave
the
it there.
public hearing?
And I know you did your due diligence, and you were
I
acting
closed
under
my
the
hearing.
direction of the board.
Yes, correct.
All right, thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
if there's no other comments, then I move to close this public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 6th public hearing?
Public hearing number 6, to authorize the acquisition of 1195 and 1253 Noyak Path in the hamlet of Bridgehampton, New York, and amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Good evening again, Jackie Fenlon, Community Preservation Director. So this is another parcel. So this is the middle aerial. Sorry, this is not the middle aerial. This is this aerial right here. So this is the property owned by the Bryn Mawr Foster Noyak LLC and Harvey Sternberg, who individually owns one of the property. So this is approximately 18 acres of property located at 1195 Noyak Path and 1253 Noyak Path in the hamlet of Hampton, in Bridgehampton. Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-36-1-33.1 and 900-36-14.2 respectively. So this is, again, for a purchase of 2 properties totaling 18 acres. This is magnificent woodlands that has rolling topography, glacial rapids. This can be, the property here can be subdivided into 2 properties. So this is also to consider, preservation where 3 homes could essentially be in the future. But this, as you can see, is adjacent and south of existing town holdings and the existing Pomnock Path, which you can see right here. So again, this is for Bryn Mawr Foster Noyak LLC and Harvey Sternberg individually. So they have expressed interest in selling the properties for $7 million.
Well, there are no cards for this public hearing. Does anybody on the board have any comments?
Not with this one.
Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom who'd like to be heard? But so this is something that you certainly advocate for, as does the CPF Advisory Committee?
Yes, absolutely. This was supported by the CPF Advisory Board, and this is, I will also note that this is in the Open Space Greenbelt Target Area and Open Space Target Area and Trail in the Eastern GIS. So that's like a specific target area where we are seeking additional preservation. Obviously, it's also in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, but with 18 acres here, we're preserving a lot of existing, forested woodland. Aquifer protection is very important here as well, and the topography, as well as the opportunity for additional trail implications. There's some existing informal trails that are on the property that we could also look to incorporate in our trail system. So I do highly support this one. This is a unique spot. In 18 acres in this area, we'll never be able to really get this back once it's developed.
Okay, well, thank you. Then I move to close this 6th public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 7th public hearing?
Public hearing number 7 to authorize the acquisition of deed title for the property located at 15 Lewis Road and acquisition of enhanced development rights of the properties located at 17 and 19 Lewis Road, East Quogue, and amend the CPF management stewardship plan to include the property.
Hello again. Good evening. Jackie Fenlon, CPF Director. It's a pleasure presenting 4 public hearings in a row for you this evening. But this one is a little unique, and I just want to make sure I'm very clear in the presentation, because this is a total of 25.1 acres. And this would be a total purchase price with Adrian Senni for $5,480,000. But to break this down, there are 3 properties that we are considering, but there are different preservation techniques that we're utilizing for this. So I will this is the middle area that we are discussing. But for 15 Lewis Road, so everyone is familiar, 15 Lewis Road is the most northerly portion here. So it contains the pond, it has existing native vegetation, as well as some sand deposits to the north, but we are looking at this for a fee purchase. So this is a very unique property. It took a lot of time to evaluate this one, but it is very interesting because, this could serve as, we are proposing this as a Village Hamlet Green and Park, so that the public would have access to this. And we do have a driveway serving from Lewis Road, so this one would be the fee purchase for the town. And then the 2 to the south, as you can see, they were historically farmed and adjacent to farmland that has been preserved by CPF already. So those are 17 and 19. So we were looking to purchase the development rights for those 2. So each of those development rights purchased would be for $765,000. So that, and then this one would be for $3.95 million. So the total purchase would be $5,480,000, but again, fee purchase is just the parcel to the north and development rights purchased to the south.
Do we have a farmer that's interested in keeping that in row crop production?
Yeah, so we're actually working with local farmers and actually hoping to deal with Peconic Land Trust because there is the possibility for a farmer to buy the underlying residual fee. So we have been working and in contact with Peconic Land Trust to see if we can find a local farmer.
And that's why we're
That's
not
good.
buying the
Correct.
in
Yeah.
fee, we're just
Correct.
buying the
So that
development
would,
rights.
that way it allows to stay in private ownership and allow the farmer to steward the property.
That's great.
It's good.
And on the parcel that we're buying fee up to the north, fee and title, there's an eagle's nest on there in the back, so
Yes.
that's going to be protected.
There are bald eagles that are roosting there.
Uh-huh.
Yep, they're endangered, but essentially this would be preserving their habitat in that location. So, and it's interesting because it's very unique because there is obviously some residential disturbance to the south, but then as you get up to the north, it's really mostly native, and then there are some sand deposits. But the sand area here is actually recovering very natural, with natural vegetation. So that will be reclaimed passively by native vegetation to the north.
The sand is from when they dug the pond out.
Correct.
I think that's a man-made pond.
It is a man-made pond.
So will the house be demolished?
Yes, the house is, yes, this contract is subject to the house being demolished.
And then the pond
And then
remains,
the pond will remain.
and then people can access it?
Good hiking path.
On the parcel 17,
Mhm.
are the enhanced rights clear as to where the farm field is and leaving the
Yes.
existing vegetation?
Yeah, we're going to be structuring that. So this is also in the aquifer protection. So I feel like there's always a balance between agricultural opportunities and utilizing and keeping that, but also, knowing that it's also a sensitive environmental. So we would be retaining the woodland to the north, and no additional clearing would be permitted.
All right, well, I don't have any cards on this public hearing. Kevin, is there anyone online that wishes to speak? Okay.
I just want to say, Jackie and Dan, thank you so much for all your work with CPF. There's a lot of, with acquisitions, it's complex,
It is.
and you work very closely with us. It's great to see so much preservation happening from Noyak to East Quogue, Bridgehampton,
Yeah.
Hampton Bays. Thank you.
West Hampton.
West Hampton.
Thank you.
Yes.
And we do hear over and over again, the farmers ask us not to buy full fee. I think the supervisor mentioned that.
Yeah.
They want us to buy the development rights, but not full fee. They want the farmers to be able to control.
Keep the farmers.
It's always excited to go on field trips with you.
Yes.
Right, Tim?
Yes, very exciting.
All right, then, if no one else has any other comments, I move to close the 7th public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Jackie and
Thank
Dan.
you. Yes, and have a very happy Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yep,
thank
you
you,
guys have
same
a
to
good
you.
Thank you, Jackie.
Thank you.
All right, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice for the 8th public hearing?
Public hearing number 8, to consider the acquisition of the property located at 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York.
Good evening, Supervisor, Town Council members. Kelly Doyle, Assistant Town Attorney. This is a public hearing to consider the possible acquisition of property in Hampton Bays for the purpose of municipal office space. The property is located at 133 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays. Tax map number is 900-222-1-24.1. The lot is approximately 0.85 acres. This is within the office business zoning district. We do have an aerial photo. It's this one right here, this building. The property is improved with a single-story office building that has a full unfinished basement and a storage attic. The gross floor area of the building is 5,000 square feet. That does not include the basement or the attic. The building was originally constructed in 2001. According to inspections and appraisal reports, the building is considered to be well maintained and in good overall condition. Currently, the building is divided into 4 separate office suites. Each suite has its own electrical panel, hot water heater, thermostat. Each has a door in the back to the parking lot and access to the basement for storage. Even though it is divided into 4 office suites, those could be reconfigured. You could have one large space or however that you wanted to have that configured. The parking is, you can see on the aerial in the back of the building here. And there is a cross-access easement with the property next door at 131 West Montauk Highway. This building here. And that allows access out onto Springville Road. So you would come in this way and then come through the parking lot and get out on Springville Road.
Is that cross-access currently open?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yep.
It's one way coming in from Montauk.
Right. Yes. You have to come in this way from Montauk Highway and then go out onto Springville. The existing certificate of occupancy does permit the building to be used for professional office space, so that would not have to be changed. The current owner is Hampton Bays Connections, Inc. The purchase price is $2,900,000. We do have an appraisal to support that purchase price. And the anticipated closing cost would be no greater than $50,000. So after the hearing is completed, if the board is so inclined, there is a resolution towards the end of the agenda authorizing the purchase. And there's also another resolution to amend the 2024 budget for this purchase. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
And the funds for the purchase, if we were to proceed with it, would be coming out of the surplus fund balance.
Yes, so that means this would not be subject to a permissive referendum under town law if surplus funds are being used.
Okay. Well, you know, I think that it's a nice opportunity. When I first saw the building, I thought, I always had an idea that we could have a building department west, you know, and that seemed like a great idea to have them located there and to take care of the, you know, the inspections on the west side of town. And but it wasn't looked upon favorably by the land use department, and which feels that everything should be in one building. So, you know, that's an idea for another day, I think. But in the meantime, other ideas came across our thoughts. You know, we had discussions about it, and there's the code enforcement and fire marshals are very restricted in the space that they have. So one thought was that we could relocate them to a portion of this building, and that would alleviate the parking issues over by the senior center where the trucks stay there all night. I know that's a source of contention for the people that use the senior center. And we also got some information from the district attorney's office that they have a location elsewhere that they might want to come in and rent some of the space from us. And, you know, there's a lot of options that we could pursue here. So I don't know if anybody else wants to speak to what their thoughts are.
No, except to say that we have a number of offices throughout the town in various places, and probably the largest concentration would be here at Town Hall, but then this next largest concentration is in Hampton Bays. And we made a point of putting code enforcement in Hampton Bays years ago for reasons that the community, that, you know, they wanted it there. And so we answered that. So long as code enforcement would stay in the hamlet, as per the request of the hamlet, I think that's fantastic. But we also have offices at Red Creek Park, so this would give us more options and opportunities to move some folks around, so things could perhaps work better.
I had to justify to myself, and how I did it was, I wanted to make sure the town was spending the money correctly. I didn't want to buy a building which the town's going to sell 3 years later, or it's not going to fit its need, or the growing community. Okay, so I spoke to Ryan Murphy and John Rankin. I asked them how many people working out of that office. They said right now they have 30 people working out of that office, plus 2 more coming on next year. They have total of somewhere around, give it 1 or 2, 30 vehicles they park between the parking lot and across the street. They have roughly 30 employee cars will come there. And sometimes when they're out, they also have the work trucks come back when they go into the office before they put them away. A lot of them stay there overnight, which really affects the senior center and the seniors. They have to walk a great distance to get there during the day, and sometime at evening. So, and the place is so crowded, all the closets are full, there's a path, and someone made a comment, if the fire marshals went in there, if this was a private office, they would close it, because it would be a hazard. And it's not fair for the town employees to have to work that way. And that's one of the reasons I feel this is a good purchase, to move them over there. In their place, the Department of Housing and Community Development could go there. Okay, that we would leave the upstairs, and they had no problem moving. We asked them, they were fine with doing it. They're very flexible. As long as they stayed in Hampton Bays, they were happy. The trustees would get that whole building themselves. We wouldn't have to fix the upstairs because they're running out of room. Each trustee wants their own space, and the secretaries and the bookkeeping, all that kind of stuff. They need more room. Then there's more rooms in there. The town engineer could go there. He has a very hard time employing people in his office because they don't want to come across the canal. He would have total, if he filled all his positions, he would have a total of 11 people. Then you would have probably 11 cars, and they have 2 town cars, and he said he could ask them all. More parking space. Tower has 4 people and 1 part-time, and a total of 4 cars, or 3.5 cars, because 1 person comes part-time. So I feel this is a very good forward move for the town to keep the town going, because it keeps on growing. And then if the DAs do decide to move over there, the next biggest problem in Hampton Bays, what are we going to do with the courts? The prior board's been kicking that down the road for a long time. How long, Jim?
Decades.
The building
Decades.
was built in 2007, and it was designed to be a 7-year building. We have since made
Modular.
several upgrades, including a new roof. So
And
we can include a number of town boards there.
Yeah, you don't want to know what runs underneath there. That's all I got to say about that. That's
Well, we
why I
do know
support
we have
this.
to take care of the
You have to take
courts
care
and
of the
relocate
courts.
them, but maybe
Relocate.
getting the DAs out of there would be the first step. And there's the town did a Jackson Avenue complex study, and I have that, and I'm thinking to have like a brainstorming session about where that left off and where it is and what it would cost and what can we do there. And then, I'm going to have a meeting next week with some of the department heads to talk about it and then present it to the board and see, just let's get some ideas about how we can fix what's going on at the courts and make the best use of the property that we already own. So there is a card on this public
Actually,
hearing.
before we go to
Oh,
the
I'm
cards,
sorry, yes.
I just wanted to say that, we didn't actually go looking for this building. So to say that there's a great need for this building is a stretch. There are plenty of thoughts and ideas of how we could utilize this building. But as for a need, I also spoke to Ryan Murphy, and we had discussions about moving some of the code enforcement officers back here to town hall, because some of them do work out east, some of them live out east, and it would be an easy way to also have some hours in town hall for those east of the canal to come in for building permits and special event permits instead of going all the way to Hampton Bays and then parking in that lot and using that facility. As stated, we do have a court that is in dire need of being, as far as I'm concerned, torn down and replaced.
Mm-hmm.
We have a Head Start building that is still cordoned off, and we need to decide what we're doing with that. To spend $3 million on this building with those issues outstanding and without knowing the costs involved in retrofitting this, without saying we're spending $3 million because we have this exact need and this is how we're gonna fill it and this is what we're gonna do. It seems not right in my mind to spend that type of taxpayer money without a solid plan and without being able to tell the taxpayers, you know, what is this going to accomplish for you? What is this going to cost you to retrofit? And with knowing that we have those other town facilities that we do know are in dire need of repairs and, you know, an overhaul sitting on the back burner, this is $3 million that could go towards any one of those projects, so.
Yeah, it is turnkey, as according to our engineer who checked it out. It's new air conditioning, new heating, new bathrooms. So, I mean, yes, there'd have to be partitions that would be put up and, you know, cubicles.
And
stuff.
IT.
And, you know, actually it was Tom Houghton that did look for this building and located it.
I would say the impetus to this, and I'll just say, I'll keep my comments very short. The impetus to this was we're having a very difficult time recruiting. You know, between engineering, you know, we're hiring 2 additional code enforcement officers. This was brought to us that this would be a good opportunity by the public safety director. I think this is a nice ability to be flexible, to provide the opportunities for folks that you know would normally have to drive, you know, further east to get to work. Now we can have a location that's on the west side of the canal that I think could be a good opportunity to keep workers and enhance retention.
And I think they were both very happy about it. Fire marshal and code.
And also the parking too, which I know that Ryan is working on. I know you've been working on it with Ryan, but I also think that the parking at the senior center is a big issue.
Big issue.
And this would help mitigate some of that.
Sure will.
And it's just worth noting, those 30 cars do not originate from that parking lot. They have those cars throughout the town, and they're not all parked at the senior centers.
I was at the site today with the fire marshal's office as well as an individual from the Suffolk County DA's office. So we looked at the site. The fire marshal's definitely they thought it was a very good site location. And I believe the DA's office is interested. You know, more to talk to them about that. But it is a very, I'm not an architect, but it is a very good building. It's one of the better buildings I've seen. And prior to here, I was also involved in the space management in the county for many years. So I think it is a very good building. And it has a flexibility that is non-bearing walls. Right now, as Ms. Doyle mentioned, it's split up to 4 units that are 1,250 square feet each, but you can move. There's flexibility. And right now, there's actually offices in each one of the 4 sub rooms in the 1,250 square feet units, with a bathroom and 3 or 4 or 5 offices in each one of those. So it's almost could be moving condition, or you could move the walls very easily because they're all non-bearing to fit the needs if you're looking to do that.
And I got the card numbers from the department heads, Ryan and John. I asked them how many cars would be there. And the same thing with the engineer department, and the same thing with the housing department. They gave me the cars, the number of the cars, because that was a very big concern for the parking in the senior center.
And in addition to all those reasons, the fact that we can't hire another engineer, that we have one engineer for the whole town, and we've been trying since before I got here, I know, we just can't attract people to this side of the canal. And so just for that reason, I mean, I'm so hopeful that we'll be able to fill out the staffing in that department to keep applications moving forward and prevent delays. Anyway.
He's overworked. He was 2 engineers, one quit, and there's only one. That's why he needs more help.
So I do have one card, Gail Lombardi.
Thank you, Kim. I'm sorry, but I've been listening to this and my blood pressure just went up. This resolution in the public hearing is literally the textbook definition of arbitrary and capricious. All this jibber jabber, for lack of a better term, anecdotal information about who could move here and who could move there,
without a plan of this board, of where your employees are, what your growth needs are, what the salaries are, is unconscionable that you're taking this commercial property off the market in the towns in Hampton Bays. This building has been for rent for 5 years. It's not some fabulous building. If it was, it would have been rented. It just went on the market for $2.9 million on Zillow. I'm flabbergasted. This will be the third building that you've purchased in the town of Southampton in 5 years, when all we hear from the developer for downtown is that there's no commercial space. We need commercial space. I need to put my 150 apartments to give people commercial space. And you're taking a commercial space off our market? It's unconscionable. It really is. I'm really flabbergasted. There's not one thing in the resolution, not one, for the public hearing or the purchase that gives any rational reason to buy this building. I've passed that building. I actually walked the unwalkable downtown, and the other white elephant that you bought at 240. That thing was falling down, but yet you bought that building with no plan, and yet you bought that building. That building has some relationship to Dr. Iarola, whatever his name is, the old doctor that used to live there. The two buildings are in some kind of relationship. It's a little suspect to me. Besides that, I'm not accusing anybody of any wrongdoing, but it doesn't make sense. That building does not make sense. Do not use the daytime parking as an excuse to buy that building. The code enforcement shouldn't be in the building. They should be out in the field during the day. Overnight parking is not a problem with the senior center. Senior center is closed. So do not use that as an excuse. And thank you, Cindy, for trying to fix some of that problem. Those guys should be out in the field. Permits are here. I agree with Cindy that if they're east of the canal, they should be east of the canal. And to use it as an excuse because an engineer can't be hired, let's spend $3 million to buy a building because we can't hire an engineer. Let him work from home. I understand that people are still working from home because my partner runs into them in Target and Riverhead. So apparently people are still working from home. So please, you have a resolution to actually purchase it and go into reserves. I'm flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted with no plan, no documentation, a bunch of anecdotal jibber jabber. So I completely am opposed to this. Thank you.
Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom?
He has her hand up.
Jessica.
I'd just like to make a comment that our code enforcement officers are in the field.
Okay, I don't have the card, but please, you're welcome to come up.
Good evening, Supervisor, Town Council people. Eileen McFarland from Hampton Bays. So I understand, I hear all of what you're talking about in regards to this building. I am curious, has anybody ever stayed there to watch the traffic flow in that area? So as I was listening, that you don't want people traveling east and west and whatnot, just kind of make them stay there. I can't even envision, first of all, you can't have anybody coming, traveling west to get in here. That would be probably impossible. So they'd always have to travel from the west, going east to come through here. That's all fine. To come out, do you know what this road is like? Have you ever been there?
Of course.
Have you been there for hours? I have sat at that light. I can't tell you how many times of the day, all times of the year. So I just think for the people that might have to work there, that might be a strong consideration. That's what I have to say.
Thank you.
You can access the spring.
I think that something was said that might have been misleading. You can access the parking lot from Springfield.
Springville, yeah. Springville is.
And there's a light there at
Oh,
that
yeah, there's a
intersection,
light.
as you all know.
It gets backed up sometimes.
The access from Springville provides the access to the subject building as well as the adjacent restaurant.
Okay, Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that would like to be heard on this public hearing? Okay. Anybody else have any other comments? All right, then I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hey, thank you. Same to you. Oh, okay. That brings us to the public portion. Hmm? Oh, I didn't even see you back there. Hello, Legislator Welker. Did you put in a card to speak? Yes? Would you like to come up? Come on up. We want to take you out of order. Thank you for pointing that out, Cindy.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Ann Welker. I am a sitting Suffolk County legislator representing the towns of Southampton and East Hampton for the 2nd Legislative District. However, I formerly served as a Southampton Town trustee. I'm here this evening to strongly support Town Board Resolution 2024-1201, authorizing the supervisor to sign the letter of intent to become a New York State pro-housing community. We need only look to our neighbors in the west, north, and especially east to see how this designation can be rewarding local governments that are working to address the housing crisis in their communities. The towns of Brookhaven, Riverhead, East Hampton, and the village of Sag Harbor all recognize the critically important need to address the affordability challenges within their communities. As a certified pro-housing community, East Hampton will now be prioritized for a range of discretionary funding programs, including Downtown Revitalization Initiative, the Long Island Investment Fund, the Public Transportation Modernization Enhancement Program, and others. This prioritization will enhance East Hampton Town's ability to secure funds for various development projects aimed at improving the quality of life for our residents. This letter of intent is the first step in the process to securing additional funds for Southampton Town's housing initiatives, mirroring that already occurring in the town of East Hampton. I implore the Town Board to support Town Board Resolution 2024-1201. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you, Ann.
Legislator
Ann, if you
Welker.
have that typed out, if you want to hand it in.
All right, next is Angela Unault.
Good evening again, Supervisor and the board.
Angela.
Hi, I'm Angela Unault, President of Franca, Flanders Riverside Northampton Community Association. And on behalf of the community, we would like to congratulate Tommy John for your new position. And, you know, sad that you won't be sitting there, but happy that, you know, we now have you as our assemblyman that we can reach out to and continue working with.
Thank you, Angela. I've enjoyed working with you all. You're a spirited group, and our relationship will continue.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're going to go back and visit?
Oh, yes. You'll still be invited. And talking about invites, we will be having, Franco will be having their annual holiday, just a little gathering on December 18th, and every single one of you are invited. It's very casual. It's, you know, we just have time just to laugh and talk and some hot chocolate and maybe some like sandwiches or something. But you're all invited to come out on the 18th. It will be at the Crohan Center at 7 p.m. And also, happy Thanksgiving to every one of you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Same to
Thank
you.
You too.
All right, next is Gail Lombardi.
I'm not speaking on behalf of the HBCA, just on my own behalf, but I was at the meeting last night, and I want to thank Cindy McNamara, Councilperson McNamara, for being our guest and for Mr. Pell in attendance. Cindy always brings an honest and candid responses and contributes to the issues of Hampton Bays. But I have to say that, you know, when we walked away and we had some new people there, they're like, what the heck's going on? It's like whack-a-mole in Hampton Bays. I mean, it feels like, you know, other hamlets within the town of Southampton, they have, you know, a light problem or, you know, some other problem, and we're dealing with the purchase of 133, and then you want to put the, you know, the housing authority wants to come in and put the other house, and we're dealing with Bass. It's like, it is literally like whack-a-mole. And if it wasn't for citizens activists, I don't know the state of what Hampton Bays would be. I've been at this for 10 years. So the first thing I want to address is the lack of action on the Westwoods. It was clearly, again, the people are like besides themselves. It just seems like, I've read some of the letters. The letters, I'm embarrassed for you. Some of the letters that have gone out from this office back and forth. As a tax-paying HBWD resident for 25 years, paying my taxes with my water bills, paying my usage with my water bills, and arrears that go to my tax bill, that if I don't pay my usage, my house will get taken by Suffolk County. No way, as commissioners of this water district, should you be allowing water to the Westwoods property unless there is a legal obligation to do so. No way, because there is no mechanism for that to be paid. There's no mechanism to update our maintenance, and we have a lot of hardworking people in Hampton Bays. We're not like a bunch of rich people, most of us here in Hampton Bays, but yet we get treated very poorly over the years. The resolution for the pro-housing community, I have concerns about, because again, it's probably going to adversely affect Hampton Bays, because everything adversely affects Hampton Bays. And the state has not been forthright when it came to cannabis, and also when it came to BESS. You guys followed the BESS rules. Look where we are. Look where we are. Cannabis, now we're going to have one potentially right next to St. Rosalie's with the daycare center. Thank you very much. And so, and the last thing, Ms. Diacilli, Councilperson Diacilli, you brought this to Ray D'Angelo's attention. Again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the Civic, but it was not well, I shouldn't say not well, I can't think of the word, but it didn't go over well. I mean, it looks like it may be, I don't know why it's being resurrected now, the traffic circle. We discussed it briefly. For me personally, it looks like a solution in search of a problem, and it's a pedestrian that, again, actually walks downtown. It doesn't look like this is pedestrian friendly, and it actually impedes the walkability of downtown, but it needs, I looked at the letter, it's from 2017, so it just seems to need a lot more work, but this is from me personally. We didn't get a position from the Civic, but it just got a lukewarm, and maybe, you know, Cindy could opine to that. It just got a lukewarm reaction. It's got no reaction.
30 seconds.
So those are the things I just want to bring to the town board's attention. Again, this is all from my own personal perspective, not speaking on behalf of the Civic. And yes, everyone have a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Good Thanksgiving.
Just so you know, Councilmember Silly, that was brought up at the Civic meeting last night, and I assured them that it is something that you were looking at, that you are open to, you know, any things that could potentially help traffic, and you've pulled old stuff out of the files and the boxes, and you're taking a new look at them, and just seeing if it's a viable opportunity. It's nothing that's moving forward.
It's not moving forward. Yeah, Councilwoman, thank you. Yeah, and Gail, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. It was the goal to email the Civic leadership to, you know, gauge their interpretation. So I appreciate you providing your input on that. Thank you.
That traffic circle at the corner proposed, actually, it didn't even get to proposal. It was a concept idea, was also tied with the concept idea of opening up a right-of-way from Good Ground Road to that intersection where the diner is. So a traffic circle would work well in that configuration. Right. Of course, we pulled that because the community didn't want that. They, I suppose, preferred to have the traffic on Montauk Highway solely, and so that's not happened. But that's where a lot of those talks were, with that traffic circle.
Yes.
And we don't have any intention of allowing a connection to the water mains. And our James Capper of the Water District is aware, and he's already, you know, sent out communications to that effect. And, all right, Jimmy Mack.
Hey, Jim. get your outfit for the polar pail?
And
Don't tell us, it's gonna be a surprise.
yes, supervisor and council members, thank you for seeing me today, and my dear friend Sunday over there. I'm here to also, as Legislator Welker said, to hope you support and authorize this letter of intent to become a New York State pro-housing community. But I come here as I'm currently on the board of the Southampton Volunteer Ambulance, and I've been with them as a volunteer EMT for 20 years. And in those 20 years, I have seen dozens and dozens of young, qualified EMTs, people who we have trained, leave this community and go south or west because there is no affordable housing. And just, it's kind of devastating our volunteer ambulance corps, to the point where, you know, I'm 67. I got 3 more years on my EMT license. That brings me to 70. Then I'm thinking of calling it quits because I should be the one calling for help instead of being the one showing up for help. And that's the direction we're going in. You know, you're going to wind up with a volunteer ambulance that's all senior citizens. Currently, the majority of our board is senior citizens. The majority of our high volume, call volume people are senior citizens. And I attribute this largely to the fact that most of these young people get tired of living with their parents and wind up moving out of this wonderful town. So another perfect example is my niece, who, when she graduated from college, got an offer to work for my brother Billy at his business and came to the town of Southampton. I, at the time, had sectioned off my master bedroom and was Airbnb-ing it. And she said, well, do you mind if I just live there temporarily until I found a affordable place for me to live? That was 7 years ago. She still hasn't found an affordable place to live. So, and finally, I'd just like to mention our ambulance awards dinner is December 14th at Calissa. I hope you all received your invitations and can attend, because it will also be, in addition to our awards dinner, it's my mother Faye's 94th birthday, and I'm dragging her along. So please, if you can, come help me celebrate with her. Thank you.
Thank you for your service,
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Eileen McPhailin, please. No, pass. Okay. Mackie Finnerty.
Address at Woolley Street. I'm also here in favor of the pro-housing community. I was shocked to find out that all the surrounding areas had already signed on to this. And I thought, what happened to us? We should be the leaders, not the followers. It's desperate, as all the issues that came up tonight had to do with, so tied together, both the traffic and the lack of anywhere to live. You hear that we don't even have housing. They say you have young doctors at the hospital, that even they can't afford to live out here. We really have to do something about that. Should be our absolute #1 priority. And of course, it would affect the traffic as well, which you would have to build a lot of housing to actually affect it, but they sort of do go together, dealing with it. Also, it gives us access. I counted, I think there's 7 organizations that you must belong to this in order to even apply for money from them. Now, as you know, any organizations that give out money have a limited amount of money. So we need to get on this. If everybody else is already on it, we have to get on this soon. We can't keep talking about it. And an important part of that is we get still to have the local zoning still applies the way we want it to. We have control over it. It's not like we've given it over to some other organization that tells you how to zone it or where to put it or whatever. We have the control. We have the desperate need. So let's pass this and start applying for some of this money and get some of this stuff built. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Derek Stein.
Good evening. My name is Derek Stein.
Again, I'm here on behalf of the Long Island Housing Coalition, Madam Supervisor, members of the Town Council. I am here tonight to urge you to support Resolution 2024-1201, the letter of intent to apply for appropriate housing community status. As has been discussed, well, the three surrounding towns, as well as the town of Shelter Island, have all applied for pro-housing status. And the three towns, Riverhead, Brookhaven, and East Hampton, have all been certified as pro-housing communities through the state, meaning that they are fully ready to be able to make those attempts to get those grant funds for the downtown revitalization, for Market New York, Main Street grant funding, and for the transportation funding. So with that in mind, this is really just another tool in the toolbox that the town can have to be able to get the funding for infrastructure. And the timing for this is perfect now too, with the passage of Proposition 2, Suffolk County Clean Water Act, by voters of Suffolk County, because this will be able to together be able to provide those infrastructure funds that can answer these issues of traffic, that can help answer these issues of water conservation. They can help build sewers. They can help put in cesspool replacements. And so as we have this housing crisis across the island, this is a way to really deal with it. And it's a way to really tackle it. And it reflects the work that I think certainly the Southampton Town Housing Authority has done, as well as through CPF funding, through the Community Housing Fund. It already, you have shown the work. This is just putting that letter into paper, sending it up to Albany, and saying, yes, we have done this, and we are ready to be able to get these grants in and really tackle this issue as a town. And so again, I just urge you to support this resolution tonight, and thank you, and have a happy Thanksgiving, and congratulations, Assemblyman-elect, as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Julie Keys.
Hi, my name is Julie Keys. I have a business in Sag Harbor. And I moved here in 1980 and lived in a house with about 19 people in Hampton Bays, and worked and worked and worked and worked, and came to waitressed for quite some time. And when I was waitressing at the corner bar in the mid 80s, and a girl there, one of the waitresses, had her house burned down, and the whole town put together money to fix her house. And that's the community that I fell in love with and never wanted to leave. And I know that everyone sitting here is here because they love this town. Whether we agree with each other or not, it's because we love this community so much. 7:30 at night, 2 days before Thanksgiving. What are we doing here? You know what I mean? And it's because this is so important. And one of the things I think is really important is that we are a community who accepts affordable housing, because we want to take care of our grandparents and our neighbors and the people who work in the community, and we want to make it easy for them to stay here. Like me, like the people who work for me, like the people who live in my town. And so I want to revitalize this whole concept, as it's not this income of, it's not the border. It is our community who needs this housing, our children, our grandparents. And so I want to just say thank you very much for everyone being here and your service to be here at this hour. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very
Julie.
much.
Joy Flynn.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor and Town Council members. I'm Joy Flynn from Quogue. Before I start whining, I just want to thank First Councilwoman McNamara for her working with us at the Dark Skies Advisory Board. I'm a member of the board, and now Michael Iosili, who is also our wonderful liaison to the board. So thank you for all your work, and we really appreciate all the support that the board has given the town council, the Dark Skies Advisory Board.
I'm happy you're finally getting those inserts in the tax bill.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, I was pleased to read about the state's pro-housing community program in the Southampton Press this week, and the autonomy that the town would be given should the board sign on to the program. I appreciate the board's caution in wanting to be clear about their obligation or restrictions should they sign on. It's my understanding that once the town does sign on, it will have access to certain discretionary grant funding programs that otherwise would not be available to us. Also, given that the town can change its mind and remove us from the program at any time in the future, I'm sure the board would want to be designated as a pro-housing community, as the towns, as you've heard, of Brookhaven, Riverhead, East Hampton, and Sag Harbor Village now have. Unless we officially close our doors to our children and grandchildren, we have to provide housing for them. And as Jimmy mentioned, or they'll be living with you forever. At least with this certification, we can tap into the state's funding stream to help us out. So thank you for your consideration, and a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Joy. Kevin, is there anyone on Zoom that wishes to speak at the public portion? Okay, bring them on. Yes.
Okay. My name is Diana Adams, and I live in Hampton Bays. And I'm worried about the gas station and travel plaza that's being built by the Shinnecock Nation on the Westwoods property in Hampton Bays. You know, since the development began in early February, the residents have been asking for information. And we were told by the town that your preferred route was dialogue and communication with the Shinnecock. And we were told this in February and in March and April and May, in June and July, August, September, and again, yes, in October. And recently, through a Freedom of Information Act filing with the EPA, I received a letter from the town to the Shinnecock. That letter was dated October 3rd, and in it, the town asks for a site plan. You ask, is there a plan to install wells? And if so, what is the plan for pumping water from the aquifer? Will there be truck traffic via Newtown Road? What is the plan for police protection, for fire protection? Do the Shinnecock anticipate contributing towards public road maintenance? 8 months after development began, time during which we were asked to remain patient as communications with the Shinnecock continued, exactly what has been communicated? Apparently nothing. The only thing that this communication strategy has done is, effectively, greenlight construction. We were also told, oh, don't worry about the environment. The EPA is providing regulatory oversight. So let's talk about the so-called EPA oversight. From my FOIA, I also received the application the Shinnecock made to self-certify environmental compliance. That's right, they're looking to self-certify. This option for self-certification is only available in Indian country. It's not available on land held in fee simple. Land held in fee simple would have full regulatory environmental oversight, no shortcuts. So we get back to the same unanswered questions that need answering. This process should have started in February. Is the land held in fee simple, as was determined by a federal court and as New York State continues to assert? Or isn't it? And I'd like to share the following from the EPA filing. It has a description of the project. Construction of a 2,500 foot two-lane access road from Newtown Road between Quail Run and Sunset Avenue. The access road will connect to a travel center. Estimated start date of construction, October 4th, 2024. So I respectfully submit that the neighbors have a lot of reasons to be worried about this gas station and the whole process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim, is there anything we can say at this point, or we'd have to wait?
Somebody else owns it.
This is another, obviously just, board has been putting a lot of work in deliberating on reviewing our options and talking with specialists and consultants. And I'm not sure what else we can say at this point, but we are taking obviously everything very seriously, and we're looking at all our options, and we've made some very strong efforts to speak with the nation, and we'll continue to do that. But we're also exploring all our options available and trying to determine a very difficult and unique circumstance here, as we all know and acknowledge, and even I think Ms. Adams would acknowledge that. So but we are, it's not for lack of effort from the board, obviously. I know that the board is taking this very, very seriously, and I appreciate that. And we're working together to try to.
And you've been in communication with the attorney that the neighbors have hired, haven't you?
Yes, almost, multiple times a week I've been speaking with the partner at Forcelli's firm, a number of the attorneys there. Yeah.
All right, Kevin, could you bring the second person on, please?
Hello? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I can't see you, okay? Hi, my name is Carol McNeil, and I want to reiterate what Diana, who just spoke, said. Those are all great things that I am aware of. I was quite dumbfounded when I also saw the EPA application being dated October 4th, and 90% of it wasn't even filled out. I'm happy to hear that you are taking this very seriously. I don't know if anybody has been by the property recently. Along the road of Newtown, I noticed the other day, it's not super noticeable, but there's like a little ditch that was dug. And I don't know what it is going down to. It's been there for about 2 weeks now. I was concerned, as I have voiced to other people, that they were actually digging a ditch to the water main. And you know as a fact that the entire thing has been buried. My house continued to shake and vibrate daily. It was interesting when you were talking about buying that property on Hampton Bays for it was $2 million. And that comes out of reserves. And I know when I was active in school boards and everything, reserve funds were usually used for pretty much anything you wanted. And I hope if you have difficulty with fees for the lawyer, that you would use some of those funds. So I'm feeling, I hope I am being assured that you are actually working towards the benefit of us as Hampton Bays residents. My other thing I just want to say about the pro-housing thing, I think it's always good to have affordable housing, but I think what people fail to remember is most people who are leaving Long Island are not leaving because they can't find an apartment. Most people want to own single-family homes, and unless these funds are going to be used for single-family homes, I don't know, who's going to be in those apartments and townhomes. Maybe some young people for a while, but eventually they will want homes that, you're right, they probably can't afford. It took us a very long time. when we had a family to be able to afford a house. But that's all. Thank you again for letting me speak. I just want to keep this alive in your minds about Westwood, and have a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Carol. And to her point, the board is, mindful of the need for single-family home occupancy, ownership, and that's the direction that we've been advancing.
And to Ms. McNeil's point about taking a long time to purchase a home, it's also would be a good opportunity to keep people in the area with various rentals or other types of configurations until they can get the money to purchase a home.
Mm-hmm.
There's plenty of reasons, to have different kinds of housing.
Yep. Kevin, is there anyone else on Zoom? Okay. Well, if no one else has any other comments, then I move to close the public portion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's move forward with the resolutions.
Okay, Town Board Resolution 1201 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli. This is to authorize the supervisor to sign a letter of intent to become a New York State pro-housing community.
Second.
Can I ask, before you go, can I ask the town attorney his take on this?
I'm sorry?
Your
On the-
take, yeah. Do
the
we have,
pro-housing?
can we get out of it anytime we want? We don't lose our home rule?
Right, no, absolutely. No, I don't believe it binds the town to anything. It's just I think, personally, I think I know a lot of the other different municipalities are involved in it. It gives the town a chance and opportunity to be available for possible grants. And so I think the presentation by the state last week was enlightening to me and to the board, hopefully. And I know Kara's been working very, very hard on this. I think it's, it doesn't bind the town to any particular action or commitment at this point.
I thought it was helpful to have the members of the state present to us along with Kara, because it became clear that there was no ongoing requirement. And if the state ever changes that, we always have the option of just not recertifying. It's an annual recertification. So we have the option of opting out at any time. And it does allow us to avail ourselves of these grant funds, one of which is through the Empire State Development Corp. And I did speak with our grant writer, and she thought that we may be able to get some funding for the West Hampton Community Center because of the, we're focus on the youth, the seniors, the veterans area that we're setting aside for the American Legion. And so I'm hopeful that, if we do approve this resolution, then we'll submit for that grant application.
And it will be the beginning of a process, and it would allow us to apply for grants in 8 different categories from the state. They don't automatically come. You just have to be a part of this program to actually apply. This follows a work session that we had on September 26th. This particular resolution was tabled from October 8th, and then we had a subsequent work session on November 7th. It's now November 26th, the eve of Thanksgiving, or penultimate eve. What is that word?
Penultimate?
Thank you. Eve of Thanksgiving, and we're taking a look at this. So I certainly urge the board to pass this for a variety of reasons that were stated at the podium tonight. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate it.
I would just like to say, first and foremost, it would be very easy for me to just simply go along with the flow and support this. And, I take my job very seriously, not saying that any of you don't. I tend to really look into things as much as time allows me to. Something that was stated tonight about, housing for our local people, was something that struck me, because in the resolution that we must adopt in order to become a pro-housing community, we must make a pledge to incorporate regional housing needs into local planning, which is bringing people from outside of this town into this town. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying it's something that we need to look at.
I had asked at our work session when the state was here, I had asked for the wording of the budget language that mandated that we be a pro-housing community in order to apply for this grant funding. It took a week and a half for me to get that funding from the state, from that wording from the state, and that wording stated that the funding may be conditioned upon certification by the Division of Housing and Community Renewal that the municipality is a pro-housing community. Not must, may. So I'm not sure where legally we are required to do this. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't do this. I am simply asking what the rush is. As I spoke to our land management director today, and I asked again if she had been brought into this process and understood the work that was involved. As the state officials stated, is it's a lot of data that needs to be collected and shared with the state. I asked her if she was prepared to do that, if she knew what she had to, and she again has not been brought into this process on this. And the reason why I question this is because other states around us have started this process in this manner with incentive-based zoning. And there are currently 21 municipalities in New Jersey suing the state because meeting their required housing obligations is considered to them an unconstitutional, unfunded mandate.
New Jersey.
New Jersey,
Okay.
yes. In some cases, municipalities can't meet their housing obligation without overriding environmental protections. Massachusetts went down this road, and they signed the MBTA Communities Act into law in 2020. The town of Milton was then required to zone as of right 2,461 multifamily units in Milton, 50% within 1/2 mile radius of the 4 trolley stops, and 50% elsewhere in Milton. They had until December 31st, 2023 to do so. In order to stay in compliance with that state requirement, the town board adopted a zoning code that complied with it. Town residents then collected nearly 3,000 signatures and forced a town-wide referendum.
Just
On
this
Febu-
is
Can I-
Massachusetts,
can I-
right?
yes, it is, and I'm
Sure,
just
I just want to,
continuing.
so I understand, because you were talking about New Jersey, now
Yep.
you're talking about Massachusetts.
Yep.
Go on.
They collected 3,000 signatures. They forced a town-wide referendum. On February 14th, the residents voted overwhelmingly to reject the zoning. On February 27th, 2024, the Massachusetts Attorney General filed a lawsuit against the town of Milton for noncompliance with the MBT Act, and Milton has since lost access to 13 grant programs that they had relied on. I'm saying this because, yes, these are other states, but there are long-term consequences to what we do. We are a pro-housing community. We do not need a designation from the state to be a pro-housing community. We are one. We utilize our community housing fund. We have local zoning in place that both protects our community character and allows us to grow in places and ways that make sense. This pro-housing community designation is for the town. It is for the hamlets. It's for the town outside of the villages. I would urge, if we are going to go forward with this, that we get a consensus and get the villages to opt in on this, because quite frankly, our hamlets are tired of being the guinea pig in this town, as they have been with cannabis and other issues that have come forward. So we are a pro-housing community. So I take offense when people say that we need this designation from the state in order to do the right thing by our residents and to keep our communities here. We are doing that. We do that on a daily basis. We work within our zoning, we work with our local funding, and if there are grants that this town board feels that we need and we have to, we want to put in an application, we are free at that time to put this letter of intent in place with that grant application, and we are eligible to apply. This is not something that has to be done today. So all I'm asking for is including our land management department, looking at this holistically, getting the villages involved, and then yes, if there is a grant that makes sense for this town board to apply for, we had a resolution on within 2 weeks. This can be done within 2 weeks. We can call a special meeting before a work session, and we can do it any week of the year to apply for those grants. So this is not something that I'm saying we shouldn't do. I am saying something that we should take more time with and we should look at. And if you were telling me today there's this amazing grant opportunity that we want to submit tomorrow and we need to have this letter in,
I would probably think differently, but there is nothing pending currently, and I would like to wait on
Well,
this.
that's not true because I did say that there is a grant through the Empire State Development for the West Hampton Community Center that we could apply for right now. So, as you said, we're already doing these things. Why not get some benefit from it other than just feeling good about doing it? The state is offering to allow us to get this grant funding for different projects for doing exactly what we're already doing, other than submitting the data, which I have to disagree with that also because I've had 2 meetings at least with Janice Shear where she has
And Kara.
and
with
Kara with the grant writer, so she
So
was
land
very
management
much
is
aware. So
involved.
there's some
I asked her
communication
specifically
breakdown.
today.
Well, there must be a miscommunication with that.
Yeah.
Kara, can you come up actually, if you don't mind?
I'd like to take the opportunity to just underscore some of the misinformation that has gone out about this. And it was just frankly has gotten people upset. People came to the podium with misinformation, and it's irresponsible. I'll just say that. Thank you for coming to the podium.
Also, the people from the state said we can modify that resolution. And I already was working on a draft that we can add clauses to say that we're not waiving any of our authority over our own zoning, that we're not waiving our municipal home rule. I already have working on a draft that I can send to the board to make it more palatable than the way it is written currently. And they said they would accept that.
And this is really just the first step of the first step.
Exactly.
And-
There'll
and-
have to
and
be
Council-
another resolution.
Right, and Councilman, I just want to address some of the points that you brought up. We did table this because you did bring up questions, and we actually gave you deference here because we did want to give more time so that we can get the clarifications needed, and I think that we're at that point, and we've had meetings with Brookhaven Town, we've had discussions with East Hampton Town. And Kara has joined in with meetings, with those towns, and as well as with Janice and land management. I think there has been broad coordination, and I think, Kara, the work that has been done, we've really done a lot of research here. And one of the big questions that we had was, is this a mandate? Are there quotas? And the answer has been consistently no.
That's right.
And we also found out through our research and through our meetings that we held that we don't have to, allocate funding towards a large, dense development, that we could actually split up funding. And if we do that, we can disperse that allocation of funding for 20 units there, 30 units there, et cetera. In addition to that, we can also free up CHF funding that we would normally be putting our own taxpayer-generated funding. Now we could take state funding, conserve taxpayer-generated funding, and use that for down payment assistance, which is utilizing our existing housing stock for single-family homes.
That's correct.
And we are actually making progress on that. We've allocated 1.2 million of CHF toward that down payment assistance.
We have 85 applications for the ADU program. So yes, it does. It allows funding to go to other places, CHF funding to go to other places. But what I just wanted to make one comment. There are at least 2 grants that do require the town to be a pro-housing community. One is the capital improvement grants, and I think that's the one you, Madam Supervisor, are talking about with regard to using that money for the West Hampton Community Center. That allows up to $3 million to be used for that project, and it does allow additional things like fixtures and furniture and all sorts of things that we would need to kind of get that center up and going. So is another grant that does require pro-housing community too, which I believe is the New York Main Street program. So which will help, create, the facades and make a Main Street a better place to go and to shop and things like that. So it's not just housing. The money can be used for other things, and those 2 grants, we are required to be a pro-housing community to apply for them.
And Kara, my other question is, this is another consistent thing that has been brought up when we've asked. If, let's say we don't like the relationship that has transpired with the state, we're able to recertify. We are able to not recertify.
Correct. The state did confirm during our work session that we can opt out at any time. So, and a lot of the information that they are, actually all of the information that they are requesting is information that they're entitled to anyway. If they foiled, the town would have to provide them with the information that they're seeking.
But we
This
wouldn't
makes some of the units even more affordable.
Potentially.
Well, we wouldn't have to
true.
use our
Affordable.
staffing to upload it to their database in their format.
Well, that's correct, but our staff is compiling that information anyway. It's just putting it on the form and.
They sat right here and told us it's a very labor-intensive process.
But they said they're willing to also work with us to try to find ways to mitigate any labor-intensive, approaches. To,
that was
to
but
gather.
that was an
And
almost
that's
was
that's
going
what the commitment letter is for.
going into this. That was one of my biggest concerns was the amount of data requested and the amount of time it would take, and that Janice be a part of this process, and she still doesn't have a clear answer as to what would be required and what kind of staffing requirements would we need to make that happen.
So here's why I support this. I think it's important that we actually allow for our CHF to grow. It's a new program, and I see this as an opportunity for us to grow the CHF more comprehensively with greater funding, so that we can actually use it down the road for down payment. Because I think down payment assistance is the right way to go for a rural community like Southampton. Because we do have to be conscious of overdevelopment. I think that is a legitimate concern amongst all the hamlets, that they are concerned about overdevelopment, and it's a very real concern. I acknowledge that, but if we are able to find ways to offset some of the funding for the various projects that are down the road, and for the West Hampton Community Center, et cetera, we will be able to make the American dream alive again by ensuring that CHF funding stream is more adequately funded. And I that's why I support this. And I think we do need to make a dent. There are a lot of workers, the working class of Southampton are struggling, and I think we need to address those issues.
The state has allocated over $650 million for this program. They clearly would like to see homes for people. And in the town of Southampton, we do have a number of initiatives, at least in the offing, right? In Bridgehampton, we had public hearings on, not hearings, we had work sessions on the senior center. And, so we're looking to do something with that building in the eastern part of the town. Our housing authority as well, we've just signed over a parcel in Watermill. They are going to need funding to do, what they're going to do. They also are looking to build something. I think it's 9 or 12 units in North Sea. I forget. We had them here
9 units,
at a work session as well. So we in addition to the community center, we do have some real projects that we are looking at, and it's going to take some money.
Yeah.
And I also would like to underscore that the two rental units that we have done, Spion Commons and Sandy Hollow, your predecessor did a study, and over 70% of the people who rented those are people from the town of Southampton, and the other percentage was from Brookhaven, a couple from East Hampton, and people work in the community too. So, at least that's some data that we have to address the notion that people from everywhere will be coming here. It's people here will be staying here. And like I said earlier, there are people who live here, who want to stay here, who want to build lives here, but they can't make that jump from, launching from home to buying a house. It's huge. And this gives them the time to be in the community, to work with the, Jimmy's gone, but to join the ambulance corps and give back to their community and live and work here. Our population is growing, but our schools are decreasing. And I would like to see a range of people from different ages raising families here. And I think that this is part and parcel to that. We're not going to build our way out of our housing problem. Right. And I think it's also notable that in 2022, the town of Southampton also, through a public referendum, passed the Community Housing Fund, which to me is a clear indication that they would like this town board and other town boards, but this town board to address housing in our community. So again, I would urge the board to at least take this crucial first step.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second.
Let it, Kara, you don't have anything else to share? Okay.
Thank you for all your work on this.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Happy
you,
Thank you for
Thanksgiving.
coming up
Happy Thanksgiving.
with all the information.
Yes, okay, so let's take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
As I still have questions that are unanswered at this time, I am a no.
Okay. All right, tell me, John, you got the next resolution.
Another good one. Town Board Resolution 1364 of 2024. This is, and it's co-sponsored with the entire board, accept an award, authorize the supervisor to execute any and all documents for the NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program Points 7,000 base grant for the purchase and installation of solar panels on the Flanders Community Center at 655 Flanders Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1365, and this is, I need a motion to substitute document ID number 48233 for what's in the packet.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And so this resolution, Town Board Resolution 2024-1365, with the substitution is to adopt an amended procurement policy for 2024 and 2025. And Tatiana Tucci's here with us. She worked very diligently
Yes.
on this. I'll just say, why don't you, come on up, Tatiana. But this will ensure transparency, efficiency, and accountability. Most notably, we created new thresholds for professional services, more in keeping with the operational needs of the department heads, but in line with best practices. We've created a list of qualified consultants to curb the last-minute awards and the slowing of projects, and provided a change order policy to keep stricter controls on when and under what circumstances change orders would be allowed without town board approval, and when such approval would be required. And this ensures project efficiencies, accountabilities, and respects best practice.
Thank you very much for doing it.
Yes, so thank
Good
you.
evening. Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. Revisions to this procurement policy were very much needed by the town, and it was a concerted effort between my office, the Office of Procurement, the Town Attorney's Office, and the Controller's Office. We have been working for almost 6 months trying to come up with a system or a very procedures that reflect the town's needs and also bring us into compliance with general municipal law. We focus mainly on revisions to our professional services, the way we procure them, and include a new category from $75,000 to $125,000, where we require now for department heads to provide 3 quotes. We also eliminated the RFP waiver request that was in place before. So every proposed project that goes over $125,000 now will require the town to go out and do an RFP. We created a list of qualified consultants that will streamline the process for department heads when they need to request proposals. We revised our emergency purchase procedures and also revise the requirement procedures for change orders. That's like the highlights for the policy. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
And you also did you got a designation of a master list of qualified professional service providers, right? Which is new. We've never had that before.
Yes, we so in order to do something, you learn from other people, and we revise the procurement policies and procedures from all Long Island. And a lot of other municipalities use a town of qualified consultants because allows us to have a playing field
when we are looking to hire a vendor. In consort with the engineering and all departments, we went out, we did a request for qualifications. We received 21 responses and reviewed them and ranked them. We made a decision that it was best for the town if we include all those responses, and that's how we arrived to that.
I just want to say, Tatiana, we've had meetings with you collectively as a board, and I have to say your commitment to transparency, the taxpayers and the residents should be really grateful to have you here at the town. You do such diligent work. You work really hard. You have a magnifying glass on all the terms and conditions, and really, no, the taxpayers should really be really grateful that you're here. So,
thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to serve you. Thank you so much.
You're doing a very good job.
And I just want to thank our town engineer, Tom Houghton, for the work that he did on this process as well.
All of
And
the
Nick,
department
and
heads.
also the department heads for all of their input. In
Had
this.
some good input.
Yeah, the highway department as well. We have been working
Mr.
with-
McRedmond.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And
You know.
Christine Sclera. Everybody
Christine.
was a real team effort.
The whole town.
Yes. This,
But you were the
The point
I would
leader.
say, a very Colombian expression, I'm the head and everybody is the neck. The head doesn't go anywhere without the neck.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Cute.
This is great.
Did someone
Expression.
second that?
It's Greek.
Second.
Yeah, the shoe was good one.
Oh, yeah.
You would
All
think she's
right.
doing this job for 20 years. She's put on
Sorry, who was the second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
30, page 30.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1366 to authorize the purchase of snowplow and spreader parts from Suffolk County contract with Trias, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1367, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, to authorize purchases of Tesla electric vehicles from Tesla, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution
What
13.
happened?
I have
just-
it, yeah.
I personally, I'm gonna support this, but I think that we have to.
We didn't all vote.
We didn't all vote. I have an issue. I want to make sure that in the future we are looking at universal compatibility with electric vehicles. There's a lot of market space with respect to EV, and Tesla is just one little aspect of the marketplace. And specifically as it pertains to the chargers, there are unique chargers that you have to use for a Tesla. If you have a regular
Well,
Toyota,
Tesla can use any charger. Only Tesla
If you have the
can use
adapter.
the Tesla charger.
if you have the adapter.
Well, I may be able to answer some of them.
Yeah, sure.
Tesla's not my favorite car either.
Yeah.
But we did ask Tom.
Yeah.
One is being bought from, going to be, we paid for it, then we're going to be getting reimbursed from a grant. The second car, he has money left over in that line. If he doesn't use it, he's going to lose it. He does not have to buy that, he said. He
Okay.
can buy another car if we wanted to.
But at the last board meeting, we voted to, extend the contract with Tesla for
Yeah.
purchases of
Okay.
Tesla. And I did ask Tom about what are the other electric vehicles we could choose from, and he said from the American-made vehicles, he gave me a list, but he said of those models, the Tesla, the Bolt, and the Mach-E from Mustang are on the lower end of the price range.
Yeah.
The Bolt has been discontinued. The Mach-E just screams sports car. So the
Yeah.
Tesla is the most proven electric vehicle on the list and on the lower end of the price range.
I'm only considering universality of use. That's all I'm considering. I'm going to support it. I just want to make it. I want to raise the awareness just for the future. I think it's important for us to consider.
I'm
That's all.
gonna support it as well. I actually spoke to Councilman Pell about this. I just want to, and it does make me happy that this is a grant, and because we've only done these through grants. I would like to bring Tom in at some point and have a conversation about maintenance and cost and how reliability is, especially in the wintertime, with distances and what they're using these vehicles for, just so that we have, now that we've had a few for at least a year that I'm aware of.
I think he said we had two already.
Yeah, we
No.
have two. Yes, we
Yeah.
got them through grants.
Yeah, they're not-
And that's
they're
what
not- at
that
least-
question came up about the
And it's the bottom model.
Because
No
when
frills.
it originally came up, we felt as a board it didn't appear at the time that we were, buying Teslas, and we're not buying like top of the line Teslas. We're buying the
Self-driving.
bottom of the line Teslas. So
Yeah, and we've had
other
like
electric
electric golf
vehicles.
carts.
We've had Nissan. I
We
think,
had a
was it
Nissan Leaf,
Leaf?
but we can't with the grants now. You have to buy American vehicles.
Oh.
Well,
all electric American.
Well, there are town cars that are Ford. I know the Ford Fusion
Fusion.
Energy.
That's
but
a hybrid.
Discontinued.
Yeah, I have a.
The Fusion is
Yeah.
It's
It's plug-in hybrid.
hybrid, yeah.
Just a thought. All right, I'll support it. Thank you. Aye.
Next.
Aye.
Revoting.
So now we all voted, Kim.
Twice.
Poor Sunday.
Town Board Resolution 1368 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilmember Uselli, to authorize the supervisor to issue a satisfaction of a buyer benefit note and a mortgage on a community housing benefit unit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations.
Town Board Resolution 1369 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone, authorized supervisor to sign a contract extension with York Analytical Laboratories, Inc. to provide water analysis for the Hampton Bays Water District.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1370, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, to authorize the supervisor to sign an amended contract with BBS Architects, Landscape Architects, and Engineers, PC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1371 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilwoman McNamara, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with LIRO Engineers Incorporated for professional services related to pre-demolition asbestos inspections for 20 South Valley Road, Hampton Bays, and 33 Peconic Trail, Flanders.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1372, co-sponsored by Council Members Iacilli and Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Nelson and Pope for professional services related to a solar photovoltaic feasibility study of 7 town facilities.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1373, co-sponsors Scavone, McNamara, and Moore, authorized supervisor to sign contract with the Rayner Group PELS PLCC to provide professional engineer design service for the new sanitary system at Parker Golf Course.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. And, Madam Clerk, you could add my name to that as well.
I was wondering what happened to you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mike, what's the deal, man?
Sorry.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1374, co-sponsored with Scavone and Moore, authorized supplement funding for Whisper Field Court Farm runoff redeemed WQIP project from the 2024 Water Quality Fund.
Second on the motion, just so for the board's edification, this is a water quality project where we installed a forebay on a field that is in active farm production, and what was happening was that there was copious amounts of runoff going off of that field and making their way into Hayground Creek and Mecox Bay. So this is an extra $5,675 to complete that project.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1375, co-sponsored with Councilman Pell, to authorize the purchase of heavy equipment, parts, accessories, supplies, and related services from Omnia Partners contract with Caterpillar.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1376, to authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Advantage Title as it relates to title search services for the Fire Island Inlet to Montauk Point project.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1377, authorized supervisor to execute no-cost contract extension with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey, DPC, Engineer Design, and Permitted Service at Bay Avenue East, Hampton Bays.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2024-1378, authorized supervisor to execute a no-cost contract extension with L.K. McLean, Associate Engineer and Survey, DPC, for engineer design and permitted service for shoreline stabilization of North Sea Road in Southampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1379, authorize the supervisor to execute a no-cost contract extension with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC, provide engineer and technical service associated with the town FEMA Advanced Assistant Funding for feasible study and material to support the grant application for FEMA Hazardous Migrant Grant Program, HMGP, for Dune Road.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1380, authorized to execute a no-cost contract extending with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC to provide engineer design and permit and construction support service for the replacement of Jobs Lane Bridge in Bridgehampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1381, co-sponsored by Councilman Scavone, to authorize the supervisor to execute a no-cost extension of term of contract for the traffic engineering review services of the traffic analysis for the site plan application of Hampton Business District Phase 5-245 Rogers Way with L.K. McLean Associates, PC.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1382 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with Young Associates for a survey for LJ Limited located at 1065 Millstone Road, Noyak.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1383 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Authorize the supervisor to sign a contract with Johnson Control Security Solutions for alarm system monitoring and maintenance at Tiana Life Saving Station, 70 Dune Road, Hampton Bays, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1384 of 2024 is to authorize the supervisor to sign a master services agreement with Forerunner Technologies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1385, co-sponsored by Councilmember Iacilli, to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Briscoe Protective LLC for fire alarm monitoring at Red Barn, 6 Newtown Road, Hampton Bays, New York.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1386 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Authorize the supervisor to submit the U.S. Department of Energy Clean Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Town Board Resolution 2024-1387, award and authorize the supervisor to sign contract for Bay Drive bulkhead and rehabilitation with Chesterfield Association, Inc.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1388, co-sponsored by Councilmembers Pell and McNamara, to award and authorize the supervisor to execute a contract for heavy-duty truck parts, Class 5-8 trucks.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1389, which is the designation of a master list of qualified professional service providers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again, Tatiana.
Yes.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1390, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-1296, authorizing the supervisor to extend a professional service agreement with Leonard J. Marchese, MBA, CPA. This just splits up the cost centers.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1391, recall and amend Town Board Resolution 2024-933, authorize supervisor to sign a contract with L.K. McLean Associate Engineer and Survey DPC for professional engineer design and permit service for the Bay Drive Hampton Bay bulkhead replacement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to amend Town Board Resolution 2024-1392, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. 2025 notice to bidders for printing and mailing of Hampton Bays Water District bills.
I'll second it. What's the amendment?
The amendment is simply changing the date of the notice from January 9th to January 8th.
So all in favor of the amendment?
Second.
Aye.
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 Okay, and then
Motion to
Pass as
adopt
amended.
as amended.
who's gonna second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1393 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for transportation and traffic safety.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1394 to amend the 2024 budget for various departments.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1395 of 2024 authorized funding for Dark Skies Advisory Committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town Board Resolution 1396 of 2024, co-sponsored with the entire board. This is to consider the adoption of annual CPF pilot payment plan 2024-2025 tax year.
Second. Oh, sorry, there was
And
another
the
one.
annual CPF pilot payment plan 2024-2025 tax year.
Second.
She really wants to get done.
Oh, there's a space there.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1397 to schedule the special election.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that'll be on March 4th.
2020, Town Board Resolution 2024-1. Did I go over one?
Oh, no, you're right.
You're good.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1398, co-sponsored with Councilman McNamara and Moore, Supervisor Moore, I should say. Resolution to adopt amend Chapter 90 entitled Smoking Prevent and Design Non-Smoking Areas to include additional non-smoking areas being within 30 feet of any direction within public transportation and vestibules and or shelter include those designated for pickup and drop-off areas at the faculty that are open to the public
As amended with
As
that one
amended.
tweak.
with the marijuana.
You have to make
To
a
amend
motion
the
to amend.
resolution.
I make a motion to amend it.
Who's going to second that?
I'm sorry. Are you amending the resolution?
Yes.
Miguel.
Second.
Second.
Michael
Very
seconded
Yeah,
it
what changes? What's
I'm gonna put marijuana in it.
in the legislative
Whereas,
intent.
or-
Legislative.
Legislative intent. It should include, was it the second whereas?
Second whereas,
Not grass, marijuana.
limitations on smoking, including marijuana?
Cannabis?
Oh,
Cannabis, I
yeah,
think is
yeah.
good.
Well, it
it's
says
marijuana
marijuana everywhere
and
else.
Marijuana.
Okay. It's,
Okay, I'm
obviously
sorry.
it's within
On
the
the
definition
second
of smoke.
whereas, I can't hear you.
The first whereas,
The first
whereas.
right after the
No.
word cigarettes.
Oh, okay.
Know it when I see it.
First whereas.
Under the legislative
Oh,
intent.
under legislative intent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. That was
And,
just a little tweak. Oh, and now it's
Adopt as
just
amended.
adopted.
Adopt
Is
as
it
amended.
anywhere else or just there?
No, just there.
Okay.
Adopt as amended.
We have to vote on the amendment
Okay,
first.
so on the amendment,
Aye.
Aye.
the
we
second
did
on
it.
the amendment was,
Michael.
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 thank you.
Aye.
And the resolution,
To adopt as amended.
the second,
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Town Board Resolution 1399 of 2024, notice of adoption to amend zoning chapter 330-346 to update the correlated color temperature standard to align with new lighting technology. Co-sponsored with Councilman Pell.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1400, co-sponsored with Scavone and Councilman McMahon, authorized funding to rebate
Also.
septic system with extended second term for the 2024 Community Preservation Fund septic rebate monies.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1401 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Iacilli. Waive showmobile and bathroom trailer fee for East Quogue Fire Department holiday on main event.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 1402 of 2024, co-sponsored with Councilman Schiavone. Release of maintenance bond in connection with the site plan of PC Richard and Son.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1403 to appoint Colleen Toohey Jones to website manager in the Citizens Response Center.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And congratulations,
Yes, to do a good job.
Colleen. Town Board Resolution 2024-1404 to appoint Kathleen Powers Vermeulen to Graphic Supervisor in the Citizens Response Center.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And congratulations to Kathleen. Town Board Resolution 2024-1405, co-sponsored by Councilwoman McNamara, to appoint Daryl Ballmer to Assistant Town Parks Director position from the Civil Service list.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're also happy about that, right?
Congratulations,
Congratulations, Daryl.
Daryl. He'll do a good job.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1406 to appoint, oh, we did that already, and we did the next one. All right. Town Board Resolution 2024-1408 to appoint Salvatore Gerbino to Fire Marshal 1 position in Community Preservation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, can I be added as a co-sponsor?
Congratulations on that.
Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1409, co-sponsored by the entire board, to notice a public hearing for the funding of water quality improvement project for the Suffolk County Water Authority Water Main Extension Project at Old Country Road in the hamlet of West Hampton.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1410, co-sponsored by Council Members Scavone and Pell, to notice a public hearing for water quality improvement project requested by the Town of Southampton Highway Department for stormwater remediation for Long Neck Boulevard in Flanders.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1411, co-sponsored by the entire board, to notice a public hearing on the acquisition of 59 Montauk Highway in the hamlet of West Hampton, and to amend the CPF management and stewardship plan to include the property.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh. Town Board Resolution 2024-1412, co-sponsored by Council Members Iacilli and Pell, to authorize the purchase of the real property located at 133 West Montauk Highway in Hampton Bays.
Second.
And just supporting this because we need the space.
We don't know what for.
No, for all the things we said. You know, when it first came up at the work session and I was talking about the building department going there, I think you had said that would be a great spot for public safety. Because they outgrew their space, they say, the day they moved in.
But they're able to move some staff here, which basically
Well, only the two new ones.
increases services east of the canal and also, frees up some space. But
I thought they were only moving the two new hires here. Anyway, we'll take the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
no.
Town Board Resolution 2024-1413 to amend the 2024 adopted budget for the purchase of real located at 133 West Montauk Highway, Hampton Bays, New York.
Second.
That's to allow the transfer of the
Yes.
funds out of what's currently, as of now, $57 million in surplus. Bye, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Who's the
No.
second?
Who's the second?
I seconded that one.
And then we have the walk-ons.
Sunday, you got my no on that, right? Sunday, you got my no on that.
I'm sorry.
You got my no on
Cindy
that?
voted
I
no.
did,
Thank
yes.
you.
You've got the first one.
Town Board Resolution, or docket ID number 48212, to recall and amend Town Board Resolution number 2023-395 and 2024-889, and award and authorize the supervisor to sign contract for requirements contract for security camera network infrastructure maintenance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll schedule a work session for 12/5 on the public assembly one. I'll let Janice know in the morning. And the last resolution is number 48246, which is the warrant number 22.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Well, I believe that's it. So thank you, everyone, for coming and expressing your thoughts. And
Supervisor, if I could, I'd
yes?
just like to say that, you know, as a member of this town board, I have never missed a town board meeting. I will be missing the next town board meeting. It's unavoidable. I will be in Albany at the assembly orientation, but I just wanted the world to know that I don't take this lightly. In fact, I did miss one vote, and that was the day of my father's funeral, unfortunately, but it was an important vote, and it was for contracts for dredging in Hampton Bays. They had to get that done, but that couldn't be helped either, so.
Well, we know you can't miss the orientation. We're all
Can't
very
miss the
happy
orientation.
for you.
Looking forward to it.
You don't want to stop.
Congratulations.
I will be thinking about you all.
Thank you.
Send us a postcard.
All right, well, if that's it, then I move to close the meeting.
Happy Thanksgiving. Second.
Happy Thanksgiving to
Thanksgiving, everyone.
everyone. Right. All in favor?
Aye.